How does a hacker become one? Like, what have they studied? What have they trained themselves in?
I'm really actually the wrong person to ask that. Whoever we are fighting today, they are way better funded than anybody who's trying to protect. Yeah.
Way better funded.
Yeah, we are.
By who? Are we heading towards a future where AI itself can get hacked?
As AI proliferates more and more into our daily life, anything that handles data, is always subject to cyber attacks.
There are billion-dollar companies that still get hacked. How does that happen? Is it just overconfidence, negligence, or are the hackers just too damn good?
Most people think that if you spend $1 billion on protection, you're protected. Even companies that build very good technology for this, they are also looking for a better answer.
So the things that we watch in movies, is that an actual possibility where the future is going to be a data war?
You also see movies saying people are fighting about water. Yeah, I would say water is probably a bigger deal than data. Yeah, but
Water, air.
Yeah.
Have you been to Delhi recently? Srinivas, a very warm welcome to AIM Media House. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, nice to be here, Korak.
Lovely to have you here as well. You know, when I was doing research on the company, I came across some really, really interesting, fascinating work. We have loads to talk about. But before that, for the people who are not aware of it yet, I want to ask you, if in simple words you want to explain, what does Pantherun do? What is it and what does it do?
Pantherun is basically a data protection company. Yeah, so we build technology that can protect data better. Yeah, our focus is essentially on getting into the edge. Yeah, so edge could be any kind of device which collects data around us. It could be cameras, it could be our phones, our cars, robots around us, and so on. Yeah, all of this collects a lot of data. Yeah, and that data is what Pantherun looks to protect. Yeah, so we build technologies to protect that kind of data.
It's great to hear. When I was doing research on you and I checked out your profile and your LinkedIn, I found that even before Pantherun, you worked in some very, very fascinating sectors. You worked in aerospace, automotive, semiconductors before you jumped into cybersecurity with Pantherun. Was there ever a moment which made you go, holy crap, I have to take care of this, I have to fix this, and hence Pantherun came across?
Korak, when you work across various industries, as you said, I worked in aeronautical, I worked in automotive, industrial applications, networking, semiconductor, and so on. You realize that there's lots of technology that's happening. You also encounter a lot of cybersecurity. In fact, when I've looked at aerospace or aeronautical applications, I've worked way in the early 2000s. I worked on encryption technology like IPsec, because it was used extensively in the military as well as aerospace markets in those times. Yeah, so building all that kind of technology, you understand holistically how encryption works, how data protection works. So it's been something that's been ongoing through my career. Yeah, so I've worked on improving some of these things, and then Pantherun came about. Yeah, as a specific gap emerged in the market wherein you had server-based solutions which could work very well, but nothing on the edge. Yeah, so that's why Pantherun came about, to try and build data protection end to end.
Srinivas, you work across industries dealing with very highly encrypted, important data. Can you tell us about maybe what's one of the most craziest, most sophisticated cyber attack that you came across that still makes you think, man, that was something?
I've been in so many industries. I've been in factory floors. I've been in data center situations and so on. The really difficult attacks, even to this day, are just simple denial of service attacks, where you cannot bring data from one place to another, because there's so much of data on the network. Now, denial of service doesn't happen necessarily only because of malicious actors. It happens because we just have lots of data on the network. It happens on wireless as well. Yeah, so when you send data across wireless frequencies and so on, yeah, there's lots of other interference, and you can have denial of service there. So it's, I think, a very critical problem that people don't have the best possible solutions for. Yeah, and from there leads so many other things. So initially malicious attacks happen with denial of service, and then they see how you attack that, how you protect against that, and that gives you vulnerabilities, and that's how hackers enter the network.
Most people, when you would ask them, a layperson, they think that an antivirus software or two-factor verification, a strong password protects their data, saves them from any cybersecurity attacks. What's the biggest myth that you have come across from a person, or even businesses for that matter, that they have about cybersecurity?
Honestly, all of these things that you list, okay, they are good ways to protect. Yeah, they are not without protection. Yeah, they are very, very steady ways in which you protect. Yeah, but when you look at people, the way they think is, I mean, if they do one or two or three of these, yeah, they think they're safe. Yeah, there's a lot of vulnerability on networks today. Yeah, when you look at the way the whole network is protected, you might have firewalls. Okay, there are gaps that are handled through firewalls. Yeah, because firewalls require software updates. Yeah, there could be something that comes in through that software update. Okay, you would have heard of attacks like SolarWinds. Yeah, there was a network management software. Yeah, very simplistically put, did more than that, but was in all the Fortune 500 companies around the world. Yeah, and there was this little worm that entered through one of the software updates there, and that created a vulnerability that took about 10 months for somebody like Microsoft to identify. Yeah, so there are many ways in which attacks happen. Yeah, and it is never, you can never be too cautious.
See, when you mention that you can never be too cautious, with all the massive developments that are happening in the tech industry and with generative AI and everything, there are billion-dollar companies that still get hacked. So there are banks, there are hospitals, governments with top tier security. Even with that kind of budget and that kind of um, logistical support and everything, even they still get hacked. How does that happen? Is it just overconfidence, negligence, or are the hackers just too damn good?
I would say it is a combination of all three again. Yeah, I mean, there is of course overconfidence. Most people think that if you spend $1 billion on protection, you're protected. Yeah, but I mean, even companies that build very good technology for this, they are also looking for a better answer. Yeah, and that's where I mean, it's important to keep in touch with what's happening. Yeah, what kind of attacks are happening. It's important to learn from those attacks. Yeah, improve your protection based on them. Yeah, and a lot of the technology today, I think end of the day the answer is very, very simple. Yeah, you have your keywords like zero trust. Yeah, what is zero trust? It's basically about protecting networks the same way that you would protect somebody coming from outside. You also protect and you have the same checks for somebody who's on your network already. So this allows you to identify attacks that are coming from the outside, but also identify and eliminate attacks that might already be inside. Yeah, so these are all very simple in terms of logic, but it's important to stay in touch with them. Important to keep improving your protection approach, analyze and make sure that you're doing better and better.
When we compare to the United States, to China, to Israel, where does India fall currently when it comes to cybersecurity?
I think we're not bad. Yeah, I feel a lot of these markets that you mentioned, okay, they spend more than we do, yeah, on protection. Yeah, but I think we're also getting there. Yeah, we're also, there's a lot of awareness. Yeah, I've been talking to so many customers here in multiple sectors, not necessarily just the sensitive sectors like military. Yeah, there is a lot of awareness. There's a lot of thinking happening. Yeah, so I think we're not far off. Yeah, it's just about what to spend on and how much the budget will allow you to spend.
So at Pantherun, you guys have developed a patented encryption system. Through that, you all don't require the key exchanges anymore, which is when I was doing my research, got to know that it is quite literally a hacker's playground. If in simple words, you can tell a viewer who is not aware of these jargons, how does it work and how this became a game changer?
So when you look at encryption, so let's start there. The best form of encryption today is considered to be AES. Yeah.
What is the full form of that?
That is Advanced Encryption Standard. Yeah. So that is considered the best form. Yeah. Without a key. So let me start with the key. The key is a seed that is required for doing the encryption. Okay. And a key is required to also decrypt. Yeah. So AES came up with an approach wherein the exact same key is used to encrypt at the source, and unless you have the exact same key, you cannot decrypt. Yeah. So this is the whole ground behind AES. Yeah. So the way AES is implemented today, and it's implemented across various networks. Our browsers use a form of AES with a key handling, which is called TLS or SSL. Yeah. When we connect over VPN, we use AES with IPsec. Yeah. Then we have a lower level AES implementation called MACsec. Yeah. So these are all the various forms of AES that are implemented. But the underlying technology behind all of this is to exchange a key, because you need the key at the source. You need also a key at the destination. Yeah. So the only way to do this that they came up with was to exchange keys. Yeah. So now, if you assume that an attack like SolarWinds could happen, wherein a worm's on the network or a hacker is on a network undetected, he or she can also see the key exchanges. Yeah. Of course, they have different ways in which they try to complicate how the keys are generated, what is calculated from it. But ultimately, the key that is exchanged is the seed behind all the calculations. Yeah. So that's a vulnerability that people say a sophisticated hacker with a can crack. Okay, a quantum computer can definitely crack. So what we did was protect the key better. Yeah, is to not exchange keys. So we used an ML algorithm called decision tree. We generate a key dynamically in real time. Packets are encrypted. Only encrypted packets flow. Okay, and a key is generated in real time using the ML algorithm to decrypt packets. So there is no key exchange. So you provide nothing to anybody listening in on the network to be able to break the encryption. So it's ideally suited to prevent attacks like man-in-the-middle, replay, and so on. Even side-channel attacks to some extent. It is much more quantum resistant as well.
You worked in this industry for so long. Can you give us an example of an extremely sophisticated cyber attack that happened on a big firm that maybe people like it was subsided or something, and it was done by a hacker who didn't even have access to, say, a quantum computer or a supercomputer? Any such instance that has happened in the last 2 decades in India?
Many such instances have happened. Yeah, but I'll give you an example that's not Indian. Yeah, and then I'll take you through something that we experienced. I can't specifically tell you where, but we've seen that in India as well. Yeah, but let's take the example of Colonial Pipeline. Yeah, this is a gas pipeline in the eastern side of the United States, supplies gas all across the eastern side. Yeah, it was attacked in 2021. Yeah, broken in through very, very high quality networks. Okay, so the break-in happened. Yeah, they locked out all the legitimate users for about 4 or 5 days. Okay, gas supply to the eastern coast was affected.
Was cut?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they were paid about 4.4 million to vacate the network. Yeah,
The hackers
were paid 4.4 million. So this is quite a significant attack. Very, very protected, sensitive network was still broken into. Yeah. Defense networks are getting broken into all the time. Yeah, so we've had a use case where we supplied our technology where very good encryption was already available. Yeah, in defense application. Yeah, and we've seen over the last couple of years that our encryption can protect those networks quite well. Yeah, so
And there was an Indian analogy that you were going to tell about.
which is the defense establishment in India, yeah, where we supplied our technology. They had already spent maybe $500,000 on buying world-class technology. They were still having a lot of attacks, yeah, that were preventing data flow. Yeah.
Which year was this?
This was about 3 years ago.
2022.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. Incredible. Pantherun isn't just solving cybersecurity problems. You guys are doing it at just 10 gigabytes per second speed and with very, very like ultra low latency. All the gamers out there know exactly what low latency means. So just tell us about, your tech stack. What's powering this incredible innovation?
When you look at speeds of 10 gigabits per second, okay, this by data center standards is not very high.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is it's fairly low throughput. Yeah, but that's why we focus on the edge. Yeah, so when you look at edge communication today, you're looking at wireless, 4G, okay, Ethernet, and so on. Most of them work not even at 10 gigabits per second; they work at 1 gigabit per second. Yeah, so much lower speeds. Yeah, so even so, you have to encrypt in nanoseconds. Yeah, because if you have to implement data that's flowing at 1 gigabit per second or 10 gigabits per second, yeah, and you have to encrypt that data, you have to parse all the data, encrypt it, and so on. You're looking at nanosecond response times. So we've built the entire communication protocols. There's like hundreds of communication protocols that are used today for exchanging data. We built all of that on silicon. Yeah, so we are able to, as data flows in, we are able to analyze that data. We are able to find which are the critical parts that need to be encrypted and then encrypt those. Yeah, so that's the whole concept behind Pantherun. We've done a significant amount of work to recognize communication protocols. Yeah, so and then we analyze and do encryption and decryption on the fly. So all of this is built on technology that we use. There's silicon available called FPGAs. So we build all of this technology on those FPGAs, yeah, that can process data at these high speeds.
AI is taking over so many industries, be it finance, healthcare, self-driving cars in the States. Are we heading towards a future where AI itself can get hacked? Are companies even ready for this? And how can they, counter this?
I wouldn't like to say it cannot be hacked. It can definitely be hacked. Anything that that handles data, yeah, is always subject to cyber attacks. Yeah, but the places where you're running AI today, yeah, essentially on the servers, yeah, has a lot of protection. Okay, but as AI proliferates more and more into our daily life, into our phones, into the sensors around us, into the air conditioning systems, and into our cars and things like that. It is, yeah. So at that point, how much damage can you do with a mattress? Probably not a lot. Yeah. But in case your entire home is running on, ordering food online automatically and things like that, your fridge decides that you're missing this, and then needs to be ordered and things like that. There's a lot of, sensitivity there. Yeah. So at that point, you need to have protection on the edge. And that's the play that we have. Okay, we're working with many of the large companies around the world, building our technology into their silicon. Yeah, so it can be available as AI proliferates onto the edge. And they say that a lot of that kind of decision making will become active in 2025. They expect 75% of the decision making will actually be on the edge after 2025. So we're trying to make sure that the data is protected.
Before this term became popular, that data is the new currency, data is the new oil. Before that happened, which were some of the industries which were getting most affected by cybersecurity and hacking?
I think always government and defense, was the first ones to get attacked. Public services, it could be railways, transportation, those were also attacked. Then there's always been attacks of the financial institutions, for a very, very long time. That's been there as well. So these were the ones. Telecom, was basically data theft. So all of this were industries that were being attacked.
It's been 3.5 years since Pantherun, right?
It's been over 5 years now.
Oh, over 5 years. I'm so sorry. My bad. Over 5 years that Pantherun has been running. Exactly. Since 2019.
Yes.
Since 2019. Exactly. So, in these 5 years, can you give us 1 or 2 case studies, 1 or 2 examples of work that Pantherun has done for firms and companies, which you're extremely proud of, where major attacks were prevented or completely stopped?
We've done in industrial environments. We've done complete networks that are protected. Now, when you look at the semiconductor industry today, there are semiconductor manufacturing plants, and then there's the semiconductor designers. Now, if you look at the large semiconductor companies, people like Intel, AMD, Qualcomm, and so on, they all manufacture with typically the same manufacturers. So one manufacturing solution, one of their designs go in, get manufactured, and then the competitor comes in with their design. So they want to protect their IP. So it's important to protect whatever they're configuring into those machines. Make sure that it is cleaned out and deleted before the competitors' material goes in. So this is an area where there's a lot of encryption required, because there's very, very expensive IP that all these firms try to litigate over also sometimes. So that's an application that we worked on to ensure that there's safe streaming of that data, clean out of the data after production is done. So that's an area that we worked on. Another one is, of course, the railways, where, there's a lot of security happening across a train. There's lots of video content to make that security happen. Then there's passenger information systems to give the right information to passengers on which station is coming and so on. All of this has to be protected, because on a train, you don't have multiple sources of data. So you also do a passenger Wi-Fi on the same network. So passenger Wi-Fi should not be able to interrupt the main train surveillance and security. So protecting that, segregating that, these are all areas that we worked on.
You mentioned quantum computing. Now, we are slowly and very soon getting to a time where quantum computers, they're not just accessible to the biggest of firms. It is soon about to be mainstream.
Right.
Exactly. So, are we ready for that? Or once that happens, will hackers and cyber criminals have a free for all?
It is important to protect. I think there are many ways in which protection is happening. Let's look at, quantum is also being used for protection. There is people identify that key is a vulnerability, so they're trying to use quantum channels to exchange keys. So that's happening as well. Pantherun, in a way, doesn't exchange keys. So that's also quantum resistant. So there are many ways in which quantum protection is happening, particularly on the encryption side. There are also lots of quantum safe algorithms that are coming out. There's dilithium, which is an algorithm that's already in the spec. It's called crystal dilithium. It's already in the spec. There's Kyber, there's Sphinx. These are all quantum resistant encryption or key exchange or key generation algorithms. So all of this is also happening, just as innovation on the quantum side is happening, and there's also protection happening.
A very lay person question I want to ask you: how does a hacker become one? Like, what have they studied? What have they trained themselves in that they are able to do what they do? And sometimes with very minimal means, like not even a supercomputer or a quantum computer, but they're able to do what they do, create havoc in major industries or firms. What sort of training is this?
I'm really actually the wrong person to ask that.
But I'm sure you must have studied, because that's like the thing that you're about to fight.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I hope they have not also studied me. Yeah. So, but I feel, I mean, these are very smart people. Okay, who've studied just like all of us. Okay, I mean, they have whatever their interest in computers, in terms of IT and so on. Yeah, and then I mean, when I look at encryption algorithms today, yeah, I've worked on a lot of them. Yeah, so I probably think a little bit like them. Okay, in the sense that I mean, what are those gaps there? Yeah, so I look at plugging those gaps. They look at using those gaps. Yeah, so I think in that sense they probably have I mean, a very keen interest in computer technology, in terms of communication, in terms of how data is stored. Yeah, so I would say that's my best guess.
I want to ask you one question. Are there some companies that scare the big ones into buying security solutions? Do you think cybersecurity industry thrives a little more on fear than actual real threats? And do those companies then harm the companies like Pantherun that are actually on ground trying to do the main work?
I wouldn't say that's true, Korak. Yeah, I think the threat is there. Yeah, how you use the threat, yeah, depends on individuals. Sometimes not necessarily the company. Yeah, sometimes people sell more aggressively. Yeah, but the threat is definitely there. It is a very, very imminent danger. Yeah, so I don't think people are overstating it. I don't think it is possible to overstate it as well. So that would be my view.
Is there a possibility of the danger becoming more and more with each passing year,
Yes.
with all the development happening in the tech world?
Yes, absolutely. I think whoever we are fighting today, they are way better funded than anybody who's trying to protect. Yeah.
Way better funded?
Yeah, oh yeah.
By who?
By, in state and non-state actors. Yeah, there's a requirement for data. Yeah, so where do you get it from? Yeah, you get it from all these networks, and there's a lot of money available for that kind of data. Yeah, so I mean, the opposition is well funded. Yeah, I think there are very, very smart people working on protection today. Yeah, I don't think they oversell it. Yeah, I think it is being sold the way it should be sold, probably a little more so. Yeah, I wouldn't say that people are dealing in fear. Yeah, but because the threat is there.
You mentioned state and non-state funding.
Right.
So the things that we watch in movies, is that an actual possibility where the future is going to be a data war? Are countries actually participating in this?
I honestly don't know. Yeah, I feel data is very, very important. Okay. Yeah, but then you also see movies saying people are fighting about water. Yeah, I would say water is probably a bigger deal than data. Yeah, but
Water, air.
Yeah.
Have you been to Delhi recently?
So I would say data is important, but I think there are bigger things to fight about.
Totally. I want to ask you one thing. AI is already, it's writing code, it's detecting fraud, it's predicting attacks. If AI gets even smarter, will cybersecurity professionals, there come a time where their job will also be able to be done by AI? Do you see that future?
I think it will happen the day our opposition is only using AI. So if they get replaced by AI, the protection will also be only AI. Yeah. So I think it's really one thing is going to lead to another. I think there's a role for people. Yeah. On both sides. Yeah. I think that role will continue.
If you can tell us, what do you think can be one future cyber threat that will shock everyone when it happens, that no one is talking about yet, but is very much a possibility?
I think our reliance on transportation. Yeah, it could be cars, it could be planes, and so on. I think there's a good possibility that an attack happens there. Trains, so whatever we use, cars, definitely there's significant possibility. I think there's way too much electronics there that I think in the by focusing on cost, we are not actually protecting a lot of it. Yeah, and that's a significant threat. And cars are talking to each other now. They're driving themselves now. Yeah, so there's definitely a threat there. Yeah, that would be one of the areas. But I would say overall transportation, I think there isn't enough money spent or enough thought given to protect and continue to protect and improve it. I don't say the best protections available today. It's important to stay on top of things, continue to protect, learn from it, make your protection also evolve. Yeah, you need to make it configurable, you need to make it changeable, you need to make it react to attacks. Yeah, so all that stuff is necessary, and I think transportation is a big area where you will see vulnerabilities.
This is very fascinating what you mentioned. Has there been an attack like this, say in the States or in India?
There have been attacks. There have been attacks. Trains have been stopped. Airline attacks happen. Yeah, airline systems go down. Yeah.
I was just thinking about the airline bit, because if something like that happens, it's fatal, and fatal for like hundreds of people.
Right.
Can you tell us about an instance like this?
I don't see a very successful one happening yet. Yeah, but I think it is a definite possibility.
Is the possibility of an attack like this, if you are just talking about roadway and cars, is the possibility more in EVs?
It is a possibility. It's definitely, but when you look at EVs, they build a lot of technology in. Yeah, but the conventional cars are also catching up. I mean, they're building out the same level of technology. When you look at self-driven cars, a lot of them are not EVs. Yeah, you have self-driven taxis in
the States.
In the States, yeah, they're actually at this point not all of them are EVs. Yeah, so there's a lot of electronics going into this. You see a lot of the EVs also. There's technology wherein you can call your car to you and things like that. Okay, they pretty much drive themselves. Yeah, so you can. So there are vulnerabilities there. Yeah.
Srinivas, if one has to ask you, what are some of the specific, say, industries and applications that can benefit the most from Pantherun's encryption solutions? And have you seen interest from any, unexpected industries?
We currently work with the SaaS market. We work with robotics, industrial sensors, some automotive as well. Yeah, so we've started those discussions as well with automotive. So these are all markets that we currently focus on, but we're seeing a lot of interest from data centers, particularly, which I didn't expect. Data centers today have all the resources to throw into technology of encryption. But we're seeing that because our encryption has certain unique characteristics. One of the things that we do to protect, from hackers who are listening in, is we don't change data format. Yeah. So when you look at typical AES implementations, whether it is TLS or IPsec, they all change how the packet looks. So the whole packet is encrypted, then they add headers and footers. The packet becomes longer. Yeah. And this, when it goes onto the cloud, yeah, data centers bill you based on how much of data you store, retrieve, and so on. So as the data is bigger, the costs are higher. Yeah. So ours is a format preserving encryption approach. One, to protect against hackers finding out what kind of encryption is used. Second is because we don't want to change all the devices on the network to support a new format. So we maintain our format, and what this means is the size of the encrypted data is much smaller than when you use IPsec and so on. So we're seeing data centers as a significant market that is possible for us with our encryption approach. So it becomes end to end, edge all the way to data center.
If one has to ask you in simple words to explain to a layperson, what is PQC, post-quantum cryptography?
It is basically cryptography that can be affected by quantum computers. Yeah, so very simply put, that's what it is.
Okay. PQC, post-quantum cryptography, it's being touted to be the next major frontier when it comes to security. Do you believe today's cybersecurity companies are ready for it? Or will there come a time where we'll see massive security reckoning when quantum computing scales?
No, the preparation is happening. Yeah, there are a lot of standards that are coming out for protecting how you generate keys. Yeah, how you disseminate keys and so on. There's a lot of research happening in this area, about as much as probably is happening on quantum computers. Okay, just not advertised as much because it's not as cool to talk about. Yeah, but the research is happening. There are new standards coming out. I mentioned to you about crystal dilithium. It's already a standard in place. There's Kyber, there is Sphinx Plus, and so on. So these are all methods that will make it much harder for the algorithms that we know today that are in quantum computers to break encryption.
AI powered attacks are becoming more sophisticated. They're increasing in number as well. Is Pantherun exploring AI driven defensive security measures as well? Or do you think AI and cybersecurity, there's still some way to go for that?
It's a threat. It is an important area to focus on. So we use AI in a constructive way. We use an ML algorithm to generate our keys. Okay, so it's a unique way to generate keys because the key will never repeat. Okay, every individual packet can have its own unique key. Yeah, so this also protects against attacks that might use AI to try to generate the keys, yeah, or predict the keys and so on. It also thwarts quantum computers, which have algorithms like Grover's, which can simplify a problem into a factor of itself. Yeah, so it makes it much simpler to solve. Yeah, so those kinds of attacks also can be prevented. Yeah, so we use AI also in our way. We use an ML algorithm, which is a derivative AI algorithm. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the recent future and then a slightly distant future. What are the future trends in cybersecurity that Pantherun is preparing for? And how does the company plan to evolve itself and its technologies to stay ahead of emerging threats?
You are seeing a lot of current attacks happening. Okay, we basically track what's happening. Yeah, even on networks that have our technology already built in. Yeah, our whole technology is built on programmability. So we use FPGAs, which are field programmable silicon. So even after you install the chip in the field, you can overwrite, reprogram it. Yeah, so we learn what's happening on the network. Our algorithms adapt themselves. Okay, so that is more a near term solution, saying that after we are installed we can still continue to improve. Yeah, and there will be attacks happening. There will be attack signatures that we get from that. Okay, and we continue to improve. Okay, yeah, when you look at the long term, yeah, there's standardization happening. Okay, there are industry bodies that work together. In fact, all the people who are protecting are on these industry bodies. They all work together to define new standards. Okay, and that provides, as you implement those standards, and it's all pieces that have to come together. Yeah, we can only do the data protection part. Yeah, in data protection also there are other people working on certain other enhancements that we can use within our technology, our products. There are people working on intrusion detection. There are people working on intrusion prevention. Yeah, and identifying threats. So there are different companies working on all of this. All of us work together in different panels. Yeah, and try and define the best technology to take forward.
How important are, say, government laws and government regulations? And would stricter laws actually make companies take cybersecurity more seriously?
I think laws are important. Yeah, but stricter laws can only be enforced in certain industries. Yeah, I don't think every industry can be made to comply with stricter laws. Yeah, because it has to work within the economic dynamics of that industry. Yeah, so they definitely do help. Yeah, the financial industry, telecom, defense. I think they have their own ways of looking at things. Yeah, so they do help, but not in every industry.
When we talk about skill development and areas where students are taught, there's a huge talent gap and skill gap in cybersecurity right now. With threats evolving daily, do you think universities and training programs are keeping up when it comes to skill development, or are we falling behind?
I think they're trying. Yeah, I see a lot of initiative in that area, but this I feel it's more economics driven. Yeah, saying that okay, people are asking for this, so I just build up something. It's not always based on having a very sound knowledge or a background to do a course like this. Yeah, but I mean, when you look at higher level universities, they are definitely doing a lot of research. Yeah, students are involved in that research, professors are guiding them, and so on. So there is a lot of work happening. In fact, I was at Indian Mobile Congress a couple of months ago in Delhi, yeah, and I saw a lot of interest from universities, people coming in, talking to us, yeah, and discussing our algorithms, discussing what they're doing, and things like that. So I think there's at the higher levels, I think there's in terms of universities, there's definitely good work happening in India. We're also working with universities abroad. We are working with Taipei University. We are working with universities in Europe, yeah, as well. We will expand that through a university program in the US as well. So I think there's a lot of good work happening there.
All right, Srinivas, we are almost towards the end of the podcast. It's been lovely talking to you, but we can't let you go before doing a quick little rapid fire.
Okay.
So we'll do a few questions of rapid fire. We want the answers to be quick and rapid.
Right.
All right, here we go. What's one cybersecurity myth that you wish people would stop believing?
That AI solves everything.
Okay. The most overhyped cybersecurity technology right now?
I would say zero trust.
If you weren't building Pantherun, what completely unrelated industry would you jump into?
I think something to do with cars.
Okay. If you could go back 10 years, what's one security decision you'd tell companies to take differently?
Let's say implement AES faster.
What's the biggest security mistake that many companies are still making in 2025?
I think they're not defining a budget. Yeah, they need to define a budget and move forward on it.
Is it still a side plan for many companies?
I think it is.
All right. One last question before we let you go. What can we expect from Pantherun in the coming months and years?
I think we'll continue to work on methods to protect data. Yeah, there's a lot of different ideas that are going around. Yeah, and we hope to implement more and more. We want to do more on the data at rest area as well. We're working on databases as well to protect them better. Yeah, so that's an area of focus for us.
Srinivas, it was an absolute delight talking to you. This was a term we've all heard ever since we were kids watching in movies, hacking. But there is so much insight that I got to know about the industry from you today. Thank you so much. How was the chat for you?
Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Lovely to have that from you. You tell us in the comments how was the conversation for you. And of course, for more conversations and podcasts just like this, don't forget to subscribe to HotSeat by AIA Media House. This is me, your friend Korak. I will see you in the next one.